everyone! In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about something completely different, something that I've never spoken about on my channel before, and that is my tips on how to save money. I know this video is going to be very chatty, so if you don't like those types of videos, then I would suggest that you click out because this video is going to be super chatty. I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys very informally about my tips on saving money, and obviously if you guys have input as to how you guys save money, I'd love to hear about it. So let's get into the video. My first tip, if I'm looking down, it's because I have like a little list of things that I wanted to talk about just in general. So my first tip is to track your spending. So it's very easy in today's world to do that because most of us use credit and debit cards to pay for things and not really cash. And so tracking your spending is super easy. All you do is go onto your banking app and then click onto your checking or savings account depending on what you use to pay for your items that you purchase, and then you can see what you spend your money on. It's really important to do this because if you are spending more than you make each month, then you're obviously going to be going into debt. You're not going to be able to keep up your expenses and you're not going to be able to save any money that way. So it's really important to keep track of what you're spending your money on, and that will help you so much in saving money and determining what you want and what you need and where you can get away with not having to purchase that item. The second thing that I want to suggest to you is to set achievable goals. And by this, I mean if you make, say, $30,000 in a year, don't set your goal at $25,000 because that's just not realistic. Everyone has bills, everyone has rent, mortgages, things like that to pay. So set something realistic. Thinking about what I want to achieve and what my end goal is, I always think of what am I saving my money for. So for example, I'm more likely to save money if I'm saving to buy a car. I'm more likely to save money if I'm saving to move out of my parents' house and own my own property. I'm more likely to save money if I want to go traveling and I want to put aside money to do that. For me, it's very hard to save money when I don't have like a specific goal in mind of what I'm saving that money for. So for me, it's a lot easier when I know that I'm working towards something and I'm not just saving money to save money, which that's fine if that's what you want to do. But for me, what motivates me is knowing that I'm working towards something. So the next thing I want to talk about is cash. So when it comes to saving money, I find cash is like so important because what I do is I get paid bi-weekly. So every other week, I will put a little budget together, and I can go into depth about how I do this in a future video if you'd like, if that's something you guys are interested in. So what I do is I will put together a little budget of all my expenses that are necessary. For example, my car payment, my insurance, my mortgage, hydro bill, anything like that. And then I put together how much I owe for all of those items and how much money I made. And then I take out X amount of money. So in my case, I take out around $50 for 2 weeks to spend on miscellaneous. So this is not on groceries. This is not on your bills, your internet, your phone, whatever. This money is strictly for if you want to get a coffee, or if you want to buy lunch one day, you were running late for work and you couldn't make yourself a lunch, so you want to buy lunch. That's what that money is used for. That's why it's only $50, so that's $25 for each week. The other bills I usually pay using my credit card, and I do get cash back on my credit card. It's a very small amount, but every little bit counts when you're trying to save money. So I put all of my expenses on one side and all the money that I'm making on the other side, and I make sure that I pay my bills every 2 weeks. So even if I do put money on my credit card for whatever reason, I decided to buy someone a gift or I decided to eat out at a nice restaurant and I went over my $25 budget for the week, then I will put it onto my credit card and I make sure that I pay off my credit card every 2 weeks so that I'm not incurring any interest. So when you have cash, I feel like you're less likely to just spend frivolously because you know that you only have that $25 to last you for the entire week, or that $50 or whatever amount you decide to set for yourself. And that is so important for me because I can easily rack up a bill eating out and drinking coffees and teas and whatnot, which I don't really drink coffee and tea anymore. I think that it's really important to have that cash with you so that you're just aware of what you're spending your money on. The next thing I want to talk about is creating a safety net. So it's very important to create a safety net in case you lose your job, because with today's economy the way it is, that is a very real reality for a lot of people. And I think it's very important to have that money set aside in case something happens. It's very important to be realistic and have money set aside for those dire times. So for me, I usually set aside 3 months of salary to give myself enough time to find another job if I was to face that reality. Now that could be different for you depending on what your expenses are and your mortgage, your car payments, whatever your situation may be. So definitely tailor that to your needs. And if you have that safety net, you're not like super stressed when things happen to you. And you can also use that money for emergency things, like you have to have surgery and so you're going to be off of work for an extended amount of time, which is not going to be covered. So definitely keep that money aside, and it prevents so much stress. So I think it's really important to have that safety net so that you just feel secure about yourself and your financial situation. Very last thing is that we all make mistakes, me included. I have had not a very good year for saving money, to be honest, but at the same time, like, I'm definitely not in debt, and I have definitely put aside some money, not as much as I would like to, but I've definitely put aside some money this year. So I think it's very important to give yourself a break, and if you make mistakes, that's okay. Just keep moving forward, and you'll do better the next time. It's also important to treat yourself. So in my budget, I have a little section of money that I put aside for treats, and sometimes that section is a little bit bigger and more generous, and sometimes that section is a little bit smaller and not as generous. So I think it's very important to treat yourself, and if you have upcoming expenses or things that you are like big payments, obviously you can make those contributions a lot smaller, but I think it's important to, spend money on yourself because you can't take it with you. So, definitely keep that in mind, and it's going to make you want to save money because you know that not only are you saving money for the future, but you're also working towards something, and you're also going to be able to get that treat. So, for example, one of the ways I treat myself is if I achieve my goal for, say, 4 months, then I'll spend that entire next paycheck after I pay all my bills and all of that, obviously. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I don't know if it is, but I hope that it is, and I can definitely go into depth about my process and how I came up with it and what I do each month to save money and put aside money. And if this type of video is not interesting to you, then please also let me know that so I can refrain from doing such videos in the future. I just wanted to do something a little different, and I wanted to have a conversation with you guys about saving money and what your thoughts are on budgets and things like that, because I think as I get older, I'm realizing that it's so important to have money set aside for emergencies, because you never know what could happen, and there's nothing worse than having to deal with some sort of terrible emergency and then not having the money or worrying about having money to pay for that expense. So I think that it's important to have a conversation, and I think that it's easy to get swept up into this whole idea of buying makeup and makeup being fun and wanting to have the latest and greatest that's coming out. And it's important to take a step back and enjoy what you have. Like, there's my makeup collection, that's it right there. Like, I don't have like a giant collection, and I'm quite selective on what I purchase from any makeup company. So for me, I know this may seem like a lot to some people, but I feel like I use pretty much everything in my collection, and if I don't use something, I tend to give it away because I just don't want things just sitting there and going bad and then throwing it away. So I'd rather someone else enjoy it and like it than just hold on to things. So I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, let me know, and I'll definitely see you in my next one. Bye!